Welcome back everybody to another video, and today we're going to be taking a look at another earthquake update. And honestly, if I have to say, today is going to be extremely active. We've had a lot of things happen. Tropical storm Alberto is going through Mexico and ending in Mexico, which has nothing to do with earthquake updates, but I am doing it because sometimes when flooding happens, the ground gets really soggy, and earthquakes can be even more disastrous because of landslides. But anyways, we're going to start on the East Coast here. Looks like we have a 2.4 near Rutledge, Tennessee, here on the border between Morristown and New Market here near Jefferson City. This is a fairly large earthquake for this section. We saw that swarm of earthquakes over here near Sparta, North Carolina. I think the biggest was a 2.3. One website said 2.4. I'm not going to believe that because USGS is much more reliable. Still nothing in this New Madrid section. Oklahoma has seen some earthquakes again. A 1.2 near Alex, Oklahoma. 1.3 near Quarry Blast near Holbert, Oklahoma. And a 1.7 up here towards Ponca City, and a 1.4 near Wauketa, Oklahoma. Still no aftershocks after that 3.4 that got downgraded to a 3.0 later in the day. No aftershocks from that. Looks like we do have some activity down here towards Balmaria, 2.7. 1.8 near Falls City, pretty close to San Antonio area. And then some normal activity up here in the oil fields. Looks like a 2.0. Some possible other areas starting up here. But it looks like New Mexico had a 3.2 and in the upper section a 2.2 and a 2.1. It says that its nearest place is Colorado, but it actually was in the state of New Mexico. It was the three epicenters. Arizona had some activity here the other day. It looks like a 1.8 near Cane Beds and a 1.7. First in a long time. It actually looks like it might have been part of the Sevier Toro Weep fault zone. Looks like it might be some pressure building up there in Arizona, but still nothing down here. Nothing in Colorado. It looks like Utah has had some more swarming up here. 1.5. 1.5 and a 1.2. And a bunch of extra swarms up here towards Milford. Looks like we have, last one was earlier today, around 9:04. 0.3. And nothing in the upper sections here towards Salt Lake City. We saw a couple swarms up here towards the Great Salt Lake on the East Great Salt Lake City fault or whatever. Vegas has been pretty active here, 1.4, 1.8. And Nevada itself has had a couple activity, 0.2, couple microquakes. Still a bunch of swarming up here towards Goldfield. Looks like we had a 2.4 earlier. Some surrounding areas have had some activity. It looks like up here was a 1.2 towards Mena. And Pyramid Lake had a 1.6 towards the Terraced Hills fault. But nothing up here. We saw that, 1.7 and that 2.2 near Gabs, but nothing else. Baja California had its normal little quakes the other day, but nothing else. And there's a 1.3 quarry blast towards Chula Vista. For the Californian area, 0.9. 0.8. Looks like there was a couple separate swarms up here, 1.1, 1.0, 1.0, 1.0, 0.9 and 0.9, all relatively about 6 miles deep or so. This is a place to watch. There is these Elsinore faults here, and the Elsinore fault typically doesn't see a lot of earthquakes. They usually see the smaller ones. And there's also some swarming up here on the San Jacinto, which also hasn't had a big earthquake in a long time, 2.0, and a couple bigger aftershocks here. Still on that San Jacinto, a bunch of smaller ones, 1.3 towards Beaumont. And that San Jacinto goes all the way up here into 1.3 Loma Linda, 2.9 in Devore, right on that Pacific Plate boundary there on the San Andreas, San Bernardino Mountains, on that Peters Fault. There, that has not had a lot of pressure release in a long time, and it does look like that there was a 1.7 towards Carson on the Newport Inglewood Rose Canyon Fault there. And some activity over here towards Tobacco Canyon. Random place for one you don't see a lot is that Lenwood Lockyard Fault 1.5. Looks like a pretty big 2.2 up here. As well as a 2.4. Definitely an uptick in activity up here towards this Searles Valley area. Looks like 1.2. Possibly 1.7 and a 1.7. There's been a lot of swarming up here on that northern Death Valley fault zone. So you don't see a lot of earthquakes there either. And then a 1.8 towards Mammoth Lakes. 1.7 towards Pinnacles. And 2.1 near Vallejo. And then the Clear Lake Volcanic Field, still hydrothermal plants here, producing the normal amount of earthquakes you see here going full force. 1.9 near Bernie, and it looks like on the Cascadia subduction zone there was a 1.7. We've definitely been seeing some activity here the past few days. There's a tremor map that I can pull up. I think I'll do in next few days videos. But Oregon, there's 1.1 explosion. A little bit of activity up here towards Portland. 0.9, a couple microquakes. Mount St. Helens has had some bigger earthquakes, 0.5. On the summit, a 0.2. 0.5. 1.9 up here. And Mount Olympus has not really seen anything either, besides the 0.7. The volcano hazards program up here doesn't show much activity. Besides for Mount Olympus up here, I can pull it up. I just gotta zoom in here. Actually, Mount Olympus is not a volcano that is registered on here, meaning you don't have to worry about that. Mount Olympus is not a volcano, supposedly. Although on Mount Baker, there was some activity, 0.8, and a 1.0 on the summit. Alaska has seen some earthquakes here, especially on the Alama volcano. There's a bunch of 2.0s, 2.3 it looks like, and a couple other negative earthquakes, but nothing besides that. Mount Spur, 1.1 negative 0.1, 1.1 here. Down the ways, there was a 4.8 and a 4.0. You can see that it's moving a pressure here down the ways. The Kurokamachaca has definitely seen, again, a little bit of more activity. 4.5, a 4.7, 4.3 in Japan Trench, but nothing else. It kind of stops right there. Just came in was a 5.3 near Apura, Indonesia. About 40 miles deep on that Nagini Trench right there that comes out of it, and it also comes out of the whatever trench that is, out of the Werber Basin. Down the ways, there has been some activity on the North New Hybrids Trench here, 4.4, 5.0, and on the Tonga Trench, there was a 4.6, 4.8, And on the western Indian Antarctic ridge, there's a 4.7. And then we have some more activity up here towards China. It's got a 4.9 here, about 6.2 miles deep. If we go into satellite mode, this is actually a bigger, and it's not any, there's not really a lot of population here. But this is a big satellite section here, and you can see, since the population density is not that large, you're not going to have a lot of reported feelings. That's why it's only 1 person felt it. A very, very small quake over here, 2.6 in Tekerova, Turkey, near Antalya. No, Antalya. That is not Antalya. You know what? Antalya is supposedly... Nope. I might be right. Antalya, Turkey. Yes, I am right. Yeah, I think it's Antalya, Turkey. I didn't care. Anyways, we didn't see any more activity after that swarming up here in Georgia, but a 2.9 is so ever light that it is definitely nothing that you guys need to worry about. And that Hellenic Trench right here is probably what caused that quake, some pressure up here, because this 4.0 released some up here towards Greece, but this quake is so small, I don't think it even released enough pressure off. El Salvador has been seeing a little bit of an uptick in quakes here. It looks like a 4.1, and that 4.1 the other day on that Middle American Trench. Jamaica had a 4.0 here on that Puerto Rican Trench here, and the Nicaragua rise towards Magadi, Jamaica, and then there was a little bit of activity here in Puerto Rico, a 3.2 and a 2.2, a couple other micro quakes over here. Ecuador, this activity has calmed down up here, but down here there's a 4.2, a 4.4, a 4.3, and that's pretty much it. Now, it does get colder down here since it's in Antarctica, but up here, they're going to see most of the activity. And the Peru-Chile Trench actually produces most of these quakes. Now, if it's like super over here, like pretty close to this trench, you're going to have probably a higher chance that it is this Mid-Atlantic ridge right here. Now, you don't see a lot of activity up here. Reason for this being is that the Puerto Rican Trench also doesn't release a lot of pressure over here. And with that being said, the main activity is down here because this trench is able to produce a much bigger quake than this small trench is. But yeah, we have, that hurricane hitting, or that tropical storm hitting right here. So landslides are more possible if a major quake occurs right now. But yeah, I just wanted to give you that quick update. This is 6/20/2024. Oh my goodness, we are on the first day of summer, and earthquakes are already being rampant. But I will see you probably in about 2 days, probably on the 22nd of June. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you soon.